All right, here's my Glock 41. I've had a serious struggle to try to get this conversion correct to get it to 10 millimeter. I think I might be there, but time will tell. I have to go out and shoot some rounds through it. I did a couple videos now, and they're not even released yet, where I've had just very significant jamming issues with this when I test 10 millimeter rounds. And I think it's one of those things where there's not just one cause, there's a lot of causes. Now I'm going to say, I bought this pistol used. It's the Glock 41 Moss, and I only paid $500 for it. And generally at the time, this was running for like $700 in the stores, and I kind of wondered, why is it so inexpensive? And I think I know why. It's just, I think somebody had this and had some serious trouble with it the way I do, even in the stock 45. The first issue I had was the magazine released. It would always get bumped, no matter how I held it. This is the largest back strap, and even so, it doesn't matter. My thumb would still actuate that mag release. And what would happen is eventually the side of the magazine where it was held on, I believe it would be this side, they were getting all wore down from it getting bumped. So I had to switch over, either buy brand new magazines and do something else, or I had to switch it over to the left hand side. And then I put a Vickers Tactical on this side so that I can put my thumb or my trigger finger over the top of it, and because it's rounded, it doesn't get in the way. And then I can use the opposite side of the magazine catch, and that pretty much took care of the issue. So here's the stock Glock 41, and the conversion, most of the parts are just Glock 21 parts. The only thing that's specific for a 41 is the barrel, because it's a 5.3 inch instead of a 4.6 inch like the Glock 21. So basically all I needed was the barrel. I needed the magazine. This had its own issue. I got a 22-pound recoil spring and an extractor for the Glock 20. I actually haven't used that yet, and I think this might be one of the issues I was having. But I think another issue I was having was this magazine. Stock brand new Glock 20 magazine. I took the thing apart, and it was just, the spring was so twisted up. It was weird. And when I would insert this into my Glock 41, the last round hold open would not work because the tension in the spring wasn't right in order for this part of the magazine to actuate the hold open. And I kind of manipulated it around, and I think I got it right. Double check, make sure it's the 10 mil magazine, and it is. Holds open fine. Like what I was saying before I manipulated this magazine, the spring inside, I would do this with the mag in it. Wouldn't work. I'd swap over to the 45 mag. It would hold open fine. So after I messed with this magazine, now we got it to where the 10 millimeter magazine holds open. So now basically everything, like the frame of this gun, the 41 and the 21 and the 20, it's the exact same frame. So this is exactly the same as a Glock 20. This is exactly the same as a Glock 20. The extractor is exactly the same as a Glock 20. And the only variable here, really, other than the conversion barrel, is that the slide is a little bit lighter than the Glock 20. But I think that's will be taken care of with the 22-pound spring. That's kind of why I got that, because even a Glock 20 is running a 17-pound spring, but the entire slide on this 41, even though it's longer, is lighter. So I wanted to kind of take that into account and put a heavier spring on it. I could have went with 20-pound. That might have been a little bit more suitable. But that's the full conversion here. We are at 10 millimeter. Everything's 10 millimeter. So I'm going to take this out to the range. I'm going to fire. I got 10 different varieties of 10 millimeter ammo. I'm going to start from what I think is the most likely to cycle, and then I'll finish the video with the rounds that did not want to cycle and see if those will cycle. So let's head out there and see how this conversion works. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to run 3 rounds of each of these rounds. Just, I think that's enough to really get an idea about reliability overall. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to load 4 rounds of each in the magazine. I'm going to run 2 of those rounds, gripping the pistol really, really tight. And then the 3rd round I'm going to fire, I'm going to limp wrist it just to kind of see if it'll still feed, because that's always good information to know. And then if it feeds, I'll take out that round and go with a different round. Now, if I remember right, I believe that these ones had less, these rounds here, I'll name them off as I go, had less reliability issues than these. I'm just kind of going from memory, but we'll see how they do. So let's get started with shooting these and see how they do. All right, first up is the Corbon DPX. 2 rounds, nice solid grip. Last round limp wrist, see what happens. Corbon DPX did perfect. Spear Gold Dots. Perfect. And Scepter ARX. Perfect function. Winchester Defender. Perfect function. Underwood XTPs. These are those 155 grains that were almost at 800 foot-pounds energy. Let's see how these do. Oh. I'll do the limp wrist anyway, just to see what happens. It fed that. So you limp wristing experts here that talk about limp wrists, that says a little bit of something about limp wristing or not. All right, Federal Hydroshock. These were very low end rounds, but they have a really flat tip, so interesting to see how they do. And we got a little bit of a nosedive on that limp wrist round. All right, PMC. This has pretty much in the middle of the road as far as tip profile. Middle of the road energy. Similar to an XTP design. We'll see how this does. That one did fine. Next up we have the Hornady Custom 180 grain XTP. These were interesting because they had a lot of malfunctions, even though the tip profile is relatively rounded. That surprised me, but we'll see if they do well now. Perfect function. All right, now we're into the rounds that really gave me problems. Underwood 220 grain. You guys haven't actually seen this video. It's not released yet. Pretty much, I couldn't get through a single round without a jam. So I'm skeptical that we'll do well with whatever change was made with this extractor and magazine tweak. So we'll see how this does. I got through one round, but this is exactly what I was getting before. See how they shoot straight up? It's a really bizarre looking phenomenon, and 2 rounds fell out. So definitely that's not doing well in this pistol. All right, Buffalo Bore. This had the same results in my test as the Underwood. Same velocity, same 220 grain flat nose bullet. So I don't expect anything different than the Underwood, but we shall see. Exactly the same thing. See how they're really shooting up really high. I really don't understand why these flat nose rounds do that, but it's apparent that anything shaped this profile is not working for me, which is a shame because that's how target ammo is designed. So there you have it. That kind of shows a couple of things here. The first thing it shows is that the whole limp wristing idea and that every jam is caused by limp wristing is absolutely false. Another thing it shows is that a flat nose bullet is not the best bullet to feed in a semi-automatic pistol, which is kind of a shame because 10mm is thought of as the go-to for bear defense versus a revolver because of the capacity, but the specific rounds you need to use aren't going to work, especially in a conversion barrel. And the conversion barrels are built tougher to handle those high-powered rounds, so damned if you do, damned if you don't. As far as the jacketed hollow point bullets go, I think they did just fine. So if you were stuck in a situation where you had to have like bear defense, honestly, I think the best thing you could do would just to kind of use as heavy as a jacketed hollow point as possible, because you're going to have that good nose profile, and it's probably not going to expand very large, moving a lot slower. So that's what you get today. I think it's an okay conversion. It's just, it's not going to handle those flat nose rounds. So if you need bear defense, I'd still say stick with 44 mag or a 357. So as always, comment, share, and like, and thanks for watching.